Hello, everybody. Oops. Hello, everybody. My phone was playing this, right? So I was hearing a repeat of everything. How is everyone doing? Happy Tuesday or Wednesday if you're in the future. Let's do some fun stuff today. We're going to talk about how symbols affect your brain and how that can affect your music videos and your art and helping to make your emotional statements when you're putting your stuff out there. Awesome. I'm going to turn on some comments. I see we have a few people in the front row today. Jim Shannon, Jimmy Jazz, Easy Herbs, and Thomas Christ are all sitting in the front row. And the rest of you out there in Lurkland or watching on the replay, I greet you too. Hello, hello. Big love to everyone today. Whoa, there we go. Yay. So Thomas is sharing my link tree, which is right up here in the corner. You can just scan that and you can really get any of the information on any of the links, or you could just follow the links that Thomas gives. That's just stuff that you can do to help support the channel. All right, I say let's get to work right away. Well, I'm going to read you some of my research. Hey, Andy. Nice to see you. I'm going to read you some of my research and then I'm going to show examples for each thing. And in the meantime of doing that, I'm just going to quickly go over what's new in Luma Fusion. I know if you want to know more, you can watch Jade Star's video from yesterday. But, oh, hey, Granny. Right on. Anyway, if you're wondering where the pie is, by the way, the pie is out on the porch because it's sunny and she's hanging out underneath an old dresser on the porch, just getting some sun. I tried to get her to come in, but she just wouldn't. I don't know. And thus my Thus, the heat is being let into the house because I have to leave the door open. I can't leave her no way to get in. So the door is open and I'm sweating. So I'm sure Furry Face is really happy about that. Anyway, let's get to work. Boom. There we are. Yes, we do have a new update for Luma Fusion. First, though, I say let's talk about the neurological stuff. Basically, we're going to talk about the way that visuals affect your brain, and then we're going to do some of this stuff and illustrate how that works. So I'm going to first read through all of it, and then I'll go back and touch up each little bit. Right on. So visual imagery, it's more than just decoration. What actually happens is when you look at something, it's tapping into your deeply embedded neural pathways. There's a framework called embodied cognition, and this explains how visual cues reactivate the sensory, motor, and emotional systems involved in an original experience, allowing us to feel what we observe. This is connected to mirror neurons and stuff as well. So recent neuroimaging reveals that processing emotional visuals engages your somatosensory and your motor regions. So that suggests that our emotional response involves visceral, body-based reenactments. That's just nuts. Hey, Omni Collective Creativity, nice to see you. I know you have a lot of interesting takes on this kind of stuff. You like the that thinking processes behind all of what we do creatively. So the second point would be that well, here's a specific example that I got. It's a flickering candle, which can look like hope or it can look like despair. So things aren't always just obvious. Sometimes your emotional weight, because your brain, it comes from your brain associating certain visuals with deeper meaning over time. So that's why different cultures can have different reactions to different kinds of imagery. So like, for example, white is mourning in China and black is mourning in the US and other westernized places. So when you're feeling different, you're finding a different image, and the image is being repeatedly connected and anchored in your mind. So anchoring we'll get to after. Anchoring comes to number 4. Hey, Bloody Ritual, welcome. So you have a dual coding. There's a dual coding theory. Visual and verbal representations work together to enrich your memory and emotional resonance. Now, don't forget that your memories actually, each time you drag it out to look at it, it subtly changes. So you may or may not remember things exactly as they are. You remember things with the feeling tones around them. And that's quite crazy, isn't it? Our minds are constantly trying to fool us. So color psychology is another really important bit of this. Colors reliably affect your perception and arousal. While red is commonly linked to danger or passion, it can also convey attraction or dominance, depending on the contrast. So our eyes interpret colors via opposing pairs like red, green, blue, yellow, which shapes subtle emotional and perceptual dynamics. That's called opponent process. Thank you for your notes. CWS, hello. Omni's doing a pretty good job of summarizing what I'm saying. So here's mirror neurons. Now, mirror neurons are things that we get. It's basically how you catch feelings from other people. They activate both when you act and when you observe. So that helps you simulate and empathize with visual cues. It's because as a social species, knowing the cues for people are absolutely like they're not just important because we think so. It feels like life or death, because being booted out of the group was death back in the day. So the way that you mess with the way that you help trigger those mirror neurons is through like composition, framing, so you can modulate your emotional responses, because you may want someone, say your song may start out sad and become hopeful, or it may start out hopeful and then become sad. So you want to you can actually take the same image and drag it back in, which is about embodied cognition. Hey, Country Walking, nice to see you. So that it's because when we're thinking about symbols, it's not as abstract as we think. It's actually grounded in your body experience. So comprehension involves activating the original perceptual and sensory motor systems tied to those symbols. So it's like you can actually sometimes, when you're watching something that is impactful for you, you may actually find your hands kind of repeating the motions. This is the sign that you're really getting some emotional impact with your imagery. Sweet. And then, of course, after this, we're going to go and we're going to start playing around with actual imagery, and we're going to do search codes and everything in Luma. It's awesome. But and I will actually copy all of this into a document and place that in a post for y'all, because I like to do that when we do these heavy mental stimulation kind of things here. So there's this concept, it's neurolinguistic programming, which is, I don't know exactly how far you can go with NLP, but some of the things have been shown to connect to things that we've found out in the lab. For example, if you repeatedly pair a symbol with an emotional experience, like we were talking about earlier, it creates an anchor via Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together strengthen their connectivity, so that the old saw is what fires together, wires together. My personal experience with this is in stopping drinking, because I already didn't kind of like it very much, because I was getting a really low tolerance, and it was hard to like go out and like, well, I'd want to go home after my first drink or two. Just not. So I started working with that. I started constantly just grabbing my negative reactions, taking all of my negative reactions and pinning them to the site of alcohol, basically. So now when I walk into a store and I look at a bunch of beer, instead of being excited by the marketing cues that they're giving you, I've reprogrammed all of that. So what used to fire to, oh boy, I'd love to have, yes, exactly. I feel exactly like you do, Omni. I'm not fully a subscriber to it, and a lot of that stuff, it's just like law of attraction, it's not, I wouldn't call it a thing, but on the other hand, there are some slight ways that it does work through mirror neurons and such. And the problem is when you want to take something like that and do the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, well, I sprayed a whole bunch of bullets across this wall and now I'm going to go draw circles around them. This is what it is, right? Exactly. I did the operant conditioning. Hey, country walking. I like what you have to say there. Yeah. Been off drink for 2 weeks now. Feel a lot better. First week was really tough. Yeah, I didn't sleep much. Absolutely. So yeah, I actually reprogrammed all that alcohol stuff, and now I walk in the store, and when I see what other people see as marketing stuff, I see it like, wow, look at my old boyfriend. He looks fat and ugly now. Anyway, that is plenty of thinking stuff. Let's move into action. Let me grab Luma Fusion. Boom, there it is. Now, well, first we're going to go in here and look at features. What's new in Luma Fusion 5.3? Let's just check it out.
Luma Fusion 5.3 for iOS is here, and it's packed with powerful new tools and updates we think you're going to love. Let's get right into it. First, we've done a little reorganizing in the color and effects area. Blurs, styles, and distortions are now combined into one category, and that's to make room for something brand new. For the first time ever, Luma Fusion supports real video plugins on iOS.
Woohoo!
If
Real
you work in
video
desktop
plugins.
editing, you already know plugins can totally level up your workflow. And now that same power is coming to Luma Fusion with PaintX from our friends at CoreMelt.
PaintX from
gives you a
CoreMelt.
super flexible paint tool with built-in tracking. You can paint out distractions, highlight parts of your frame, track and blur faces or license plates, even apply tracked color corrections, all right inside Luma Fusion.
That's
Now,
crazy.
Real talk for a second, PaintX is a true third-party plugin built and supported by CoreMelt. That means it's a separate purchase and not included in the
which is
Creator
$20.
Pass. When you buy PaintX, you're directly supporting the developers who made it. Now, let's talk about the free features in 5.3. These are available to all Luma Fusion users.
All right, this is what we're talking about.
Presets by name.
Oh, nice.
Here's another time saver. When you have multiple clips selected, you can now add head and tail transitions to all of them.
I love
Or
this.
just drop in a single transition.
I've been dying
across
for
the
that.
selection. Double tap a transition in the library, and boom, it's applied to everything. You asked, we listened. You can now adjust the track height and preferences, make things a little tighter, or give yourself more breathing room on the timeline. And for Creator Pass subscribers, we've added 3 new transition packs. Mod lines, anchor slides, and
CWS
circular
and my
wipes.
knees hurt. That's
Fresh
cute.
looks with
Ooh,
just a
new
tap.
transition packs.
Welcome
If you
to
have Creator Pass,
5.3.
notice.
And if you enjoy this content
Which I
and want us
do.
to keep on growing Luma Fusion and our channel here, please
Storyblocks.
subscribe, give us a like, drop a comment.
Anyway, that's Storyblocks and extra features. All that stuff. So let's go in and start with I'm drinking right now. I'm laughing. Okay. Right. First, we're going to go back to that. I grew up in a church. Everything is symbolism. Yeah, right? So first we're going to look at, remember what I talked about, the flickering candle? So if you're looking at a single candle flame in low light, a slight flicker, right? So you can make it look like hope by giving it maybe a more warm and golden glow, or have like a gentle depth of field blur, some subtle upward camera motions, right? And despair could have the exact same candle, but cooler white balance. Background fades into darkness, camera slowly tilts down. So it isn't always about alone, right? So let's actually give a look and see if we can find... Drink diluted apple juice now. It's about mindset. The day job still very cool. Yeah, I drink non-alcoholic beer, and to me, it gives me what I call a placebuzz. All right, so now we're gonna go in, and we're gonna go to Storyblocks. Boops. There we go. Storyblocks. Now we're going into search library. So I used ChatGPT to get some prompts that they thought would help. So let's see if it does. Flickering candle, flame, warm, light, shallow, depth of field. I didn't know you could put so much information in there. Slow, motion. Woohoo! All right, let's look. Search. So let's try looking at this one. Wow. So the snuffing out the candle doesn't look like hope to me. Well, you know how it works. Lit candle in a lantern. So that looks more like despair to me. Yeah, COPD, fibromyalgia. My daughter has fibromyalgia. She can't drink, but she doesn't drink. This one I find, it looks warm. Like, see, this one looks kind of hopeful. Oh, here we go. Here's a candle with warm light. This looks romantic and hopeful, kind of. This one says, okay. Yeah, see, this one has a more kind of greenish light. That one's definitely more sad. Blacked out in the red room. Red room romance. Absolutely. Candles in a red room. Absolutely. Hey, Kubrick Lover 1972. Yes, there's a difference between self-medicating and addiction, and it is a fine line, and that is so true. I love that we're having this side conversation about health stuff because I really love that. So let's come back in here, and we like slow motion. Let's... Oops, flickering candle flame. Warm light. Let's go cool light. Yes, we do. I love romantic candles too. Brings... Let's see, these are laser lines. That's not the same. Candle flame flickering in darkness. Ooh, this one looks more like lonely. I don't know why. Oh. Candle flickers and extinguishes in the wind. Ooh, this one will look. See, and that's the thing, the light going out. Let's start a new project here just for goodies. Okay, let's create a project. There we go. Plus. We're going to go emotions. Emotional visuals. Right. Now we're creating a new project. So you could take this same candle and you could do things like hit in the edit, right? And you could just make, like, imagine we're in color. So if you go to, this is the size, position, fit, all of that. But instead of going in here, I'm just going to use this. So this, and now we'll move over and we'll take this last one, and here's your color presets. Now this is all color. This is LUTs. This is blurs. This is keyframes. This is the core melt PaintX, but I don't have that. I bet if I tap it, see, you can get a 7-day free trial of PaintX. So that's cool. So we're going to go back to, let's like check these LUTs out. So you could look at that color punch cool. And then you could blend it. See, now you've got just a little touch of coolness. Now it'll look different. And then, so that takes it, boom, and it turns off, right? So you guys get the whole idea, and you could also do things like move the candle light up. You could go back over here and you could basically move your camera up and down by moving your thing up and down like this. Like, say, my cat box vents to the outside world. So you could just take and, like, here we go at the beginning. So, or that's at the end actually. So then we would go back to the beginning. And that's where we wanted it at the end. So, so now you've got this really super simple transition, see? It's moving down, right? Pop. It's over. Scully Pop, welcome. All right, so that's your quick beyond the obvious, using cool and warm. All right, now we'll go by red. We'll use the color and composition example. So we're going to use red because like you said, red could be warning and anger, or it could be a romance. That's sweet, CWS, right? We're just peeps, right? We're peeps. We don't need to be mean to each other. Red could be dangerous and romantic, exactly. So let's work with this. So I use that red, umbrella, couple, walking, rain, warm light. There we go. Now, see? Ooh, look at that. That's very romantic. It's more pink than red, but you could absolutely hop in. Hey, Unshackled Spirit, Sally, what's up? See, again, if you've got this and you dragged it in and you wanted to say have more blue speaking. All right, so now you'd come in here and let's come back in and let's hit edit. And if we wanted to do something with that to make it redder, like see the dark contrast makes everything more red. Wow, look at all these different things. There's strict up red. There's way more red. There's red wash. There's a psychedelic look. Let's give it a look. This chrome gives it a red look too. See, that's nice. That's romantic. And all right, let's head back over here. That picture warms your heart. Yay! Now there's some people walking. Here's some people with umbrellas. So these guys don't look romantic. Ooh, look at that. Now talk about symbolism. Watch this. The umbrella is heart-shaped. You don't even see the people. Look at how sweet. That's so sweet. I love that. And again, you can take that and make it look more. Oops. You have to have it highlighted to get your... Oh, it won't edit until it's fully downloaded. So you could be like contrast. Ooh, that looks nice. That's too red. See, these are all very red looked. And you, of course, don't want those. But see, like this blast actually looks really cool. I wonder, let's check and see what you can do about these levels. So there's our level, and then we're going to go here maybe. Let's pop one of these and let's just level it up. Wow, so we'll go back to the beginning. Yeah, I think it does change. Yeah, see? It gets, oh my God, it works. That's cool. No, this is just Luma Fusion, which is Luma Fusion is a video editor. It's like a very professional video editor, and these are the images I'm using are from Storyblocks. They are royalty free. You pay for a subscription and you get to use it. Yeah, see, it looks bright and happy and romantic. All right, now let's go and let's use the same color, red, and we're going to go back and we're going to look for a wholly different. We're going to go red warning light. High contrast. There we go. Now search. Ooh. See, this is just, see, that looks a lot more dangerous, even though it's not really a picture of anything, right? Now look at this red velvet fabric fluttering. See, this could be like waving a red flag. So there's a lot of abstract red, and when you're working with abstract red, you could absolutely, what other things you add could very well switch it all around and be a whole different feeling. So that way you could keep a similar image, which is awesome. When you bring a similar image back over and over again, you bring the emotion back that comes with it. And then by changing the color or changing the contrast, you can change the feeling, and then you can have it both anchored and moving away, and then that gives you that sort of pull feeling. I know that I did a video for Sal, Unshackled Spirit, and I definitely used some of the recurring imagery that way. Ooh, this seems like trouble and turmoil to me right here. Especially if, say, let's drag this in because it's very abstract. You can give it a danger feel. Let's see if we can find one that's more. Red and white sign sitting on top. Yeah, see, there's danger for you right there. Like totally trouble and turmoil. And you could probably make it much more turmoil-y by coming in, grabbing edit, and using some of the same stuff like high contrast or dark contrast or grunge. See, look at now, that's kind of dirty. And see, it doesn't look as dangerous though because when you grunged it down, it looks less intense. What's this blast? Yeah, honestly, I think that dark contrast is what gives this the most pathos and kind of turmoil feeling. Hey, Jerry Gomes. Hi. Nice to see you, my friend. Yeah, I do. I use red light at sleep too. And I also have one of those red lamps that you use for health reasons. They originally are sold for making your skin better. Meow, Hugh. Kitty's out on the porch. She didn't come in today. She's being mean to me. I know. Mirror neurons framing emotional actions. Okay, so here's where we get to the framing. You could take hands, say you have hands, and if the hands are doing something that's a caring thing, like giving a massage or kneading bread dough or putting careful finishing touches on something. That feels like caring and calm. But if you have if your fists are clenched, that might feel like argument, right? So let's go back and give a check to that. See, I love that we just used nothing but a red blob, and we definitely, so it felt very turmoily. All right, let's back in here to search our library. All right, let's go close up hands. Kneading bread dough. Let's see if we've got some of that. Hey, Dell. Look at that. That doesn't look as calming because it's kind of a mess. I think if we were further into the process, let's check it here. Oh yes, further in the process. There we go. Oh yes, see, that's much more caring feeling, especially like that, like showing her, like doing what she's doing with her hands, like giving them a hand. Strong yet gentle hands work dough with care. There we go. Yeah, I like that one the best. Let's give that one, whoops. Put this in. Now notice where I've got that held in. So notice if you see this, we'll put it on the top. If it's like this, if you have a yellow line, that would be replacing that area. And when you have this little football goalpost thing, that's when you're putting it in between. So there we go. It's in between. So when this finishes, hey, Jamie Lynn, blankets of hellos and lovely happiness to you, my dear. All right, so there you go. Now, I think that this could absolutely benefit from some warmer lighting. There's warm up. Ooh, that's nice. High contrast would give it a whole... To me, if you had it high contrast, it might give it a feeling more of hard work. But when you put it in the warm, it feels more like caring. Watch. See how the high contrast makes it feel more like work? And you could do the same thing once again by taking your levels and animating throughout the thing. And you could make, if you're trying to make a certain feeling, you may bring it back. You may bring the kneading hand motion at the beginning when it says something like, you know, let's use a lyric from my most recent song from the charity album, Troubled Times. It would be like, we just need to help each other. This would be great for we just need to help each other. And then you could bring it back for people problems need people solutions. Or something like that. All right, so next we'll show hands. Once again, we're just showing hands, and we'll see how hands can be completely different. Clenched fists. Argument. Dramatic lighting. Whoops, not lightning. Lighting. Such. Yes, I am using Luma Fusion. So see, like if you imagined right here, and then all of a sudden, I'm feeling all this tension, and then after the tension, then you've got fists. That doesn't seem quite it. Here's like a slow-mo glove touch. That doesn't seem like it's what we're looking at either. Like, we don't want a boxing hand. Let's see. That looks tense. Yes, that's very tense. So we give the tension. Morning, Jade Star Music. Good afternoon, Camp G-May. Okay, so now we'll take our tied hand, our tense hands. We'll go in and we'll do some. There's color presets and lots. Golden. Hipstagram. See, these are just here, and then here's all these color presets. The solar flare. Ooh, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And you could actually take, hey, Lori's Mishmash is here too. So if you have these, and you could actually overlay something like fireworks or something over that so that it feels really crunchy. Oh, we'll go check out your stuff later there, CWS. Some of us, we actually throw down and like work with each other to like move ourselves from, say, a show like this to a premiere or vice versa. So in case you want to ask some of your peeps in the future, you might be able to coordinate. That would be awesome. Then we can all be there together. We can be here together. Yeah, I would put like, all right, let's see. What else do we have? All right. Now, embedded cognition, this thing we were talking about. So one of the examples that they gave me was walking on a sand beach. So if you show something like feet on sand, that will give you a feeling that you will actually sort of feel the sand on your feet, and that will help bring in the sensation of being on the beach. Let's try that. Let's go back to our pictures, our searches. We'll search for footsteps walking on beach. Slow motion, just in case, we'll throw that in. I love the beach. Whoops. Wow, you really gave me a little too many. I hate all these stupid audio results. I don't ever want their audio results. I'm not making a movie, I'm making music videos. Let's see if there's another one. Maybe close. You're having a premiere tonight? Here's man walking at beach. Ooh, yeah, see here, that's the kind of thing we're talking about right there. Oh, see? Feel that sand on your feet? That's right there. And then once you have the feeling of the sand, then you can start working with what the rest of your emotion is going on. So if you want to like say you were going to use this, you could both or either, like, here's a guy walking. Now, if say you want to make a feel of if it's not just the emotion, you could be sorry, I'm stopping there. This is really complicated. So you could just be having an emotion of that could be loneliness, but it could also be, for example, the beginning of a journey. You could just type in, like, say, map. Whoops. Journey. Animation. See if we can find that. La 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 la. Again, I hate all this stupid. Let's see. Gears machine. Map. Let's see. Blue outline topographic contour map. Low poly earth. Not that. Contour map on old vintage texture paper. No. Traveler with map and world. Let's try this one. Travel animation with paper map. That looks cheesy. It's hard to find something, right? Oh, yay. Oh, this one's not bad. .3D airplane. GPS map, car following a path. That's interesting. I didn't hate all of those. Ooh. Actually, yeah, I like this. So you could actually do, like, and then you would tap in. "12 minutes left. We're almost done, guys. I'm going to have to do one more visual imagery thing. And then we're going to go in here. And we go back to, this is position, size, rotation, and then blending. So we'll either use a blend mode. Ooh, I kind of like that. Look at the way the color burn looks. That looks really cool. That's actually quite cool. But again, you could do the same thing. Let's put it back on normal. And we go back to the beginning. You could just do a simple opacity thing. Right there, boom. Or you could have that. Yes, I do. I do these type of streams all the time. Every Tuesday, I work on either art or video or channel management. Mondays, I do iOS music. Wednesdays, I do a live performance with acoustic. And Friday night, Saturday morning, I do a live performance with electronic music. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. Right now, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you again two things that are, so if we want to take and move an anchor, we might do something like, imagine the blue scarf, maybe is what I'm using. We go blue scarf, blowing in wind, sunny day. So you could use the exact same message, right? I don't see a blue scarf yet. Maybe a kite. There will be a test, yes. Ha 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 ha. Autumn trees blowing in wind. See, they don't seem to have rear view of lady in white floral dress strolling. So you could have like the white floral dress being a thing. Here's a red scarf. That's kind of cool. Guess we don't have blue scarves. But definitely like a kite would work. If you want something to kind of wave, or you could have a pinwheel rotating. Ooh, you know what? Let's actually do that. Check this out. I'm gonna totally flip this. So, right, let's throw in this pinwheel doing, we have to wait for it to pop in. See? If you got that same thing and in a different, I don't know if they have a rain overlay in here, but you absolutely could do a rainy overlay, and you could change. Let's go in and mess with you could do it you could do it here with a nice pinwheel feel, and it feels happy and all that. And then you could just take the whole same thing and just make it feel kind of you have like black and white. Like if you had it with rain. See here? Oh, if you do it like that in this yesterday or tintype, now it feels almost like, oh wow, who done it? Now if you put rain over it, you'd put the same thing, and you could put this later. You could say have your pinwheel in there. Imagine like your pinwheel could be like symbolic of like time passing, for example. And so you have something and some time passes and something happy happens, and you have it in the bright and the sunny and all of that. And then have it in the rain and all of that. Yeah, we were just talking about not drinking earlier there, Cubes. Or you could even go through here and see how it's got levels. So you could tap again. We tap a bit like that. And whoops. Like move the levels back. That's not seeming to help. Whoa, there we go. Just taking each little bit. Ooh, there we go. Unlight, unlight. Man, this is nuts. Really dark and crazy. Whoa, super dark, super light. Absolutely. Or the same thing, like I said, you could put rain over the top. Let's move this down here. Whoops. Make that shorter. And half of it could be nice, and then you could be like, rain. Rain. Just, woo, cinematic background. Render of falling drops of water. Ooh, I like that. Man, they really just give you all this stuff that you don't want. We're almost time to go to... Even if we, like, I'm just going to throw the binary code stuff, numbers over there. And you could absolutely put them in there. And make them look like rain. By coming back and using blending. To make it not opaque. Right? There, now it's just drifting by. There we go. Falling drops of water. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to you with my face really well. I think we absolutely did a good job of talking about the different ways that that imagery affects your emotions, the different ways that you can get the emotions to anchor and move. And then, of course, next we're going to play with... Whoops, I didn't face you. Whee! And then Jade Star's up next, and she's going to show you PaintX, that thing that we had a quick little look at. So very exciting. Hopefully I have set a dump for you all so you can keep your hands inside the ride, and when I press end, you should be popped over to Jade's. If not, here's the link right here. All right, you guys. It's been awesome. Biggest love, everybody. And all the peace that you can carry, baby. Meow.